Live.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kind of Funny's Kevin Smith's Askewniverse in Reviewniverse. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the Hispanic heartthrob, Andy Cortez. One of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm fantastic. The big dog, Kevin Coelho.
Oh.
And Mr. Underscore himself, Nick Scarpino.
I'm Kelly, and this is the stud.
Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kevin Smith's Askewniverse interview. Every week we review one of the movies on Tuesdays, and then we're doing Lord of the Rings on Friday. This Friday we're doing Fellowship of the Ring Part 2, closing out that movie. I can't wait for that. But this show is live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, or you can get it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. If you just want to listen to it, we give you that option. Just search for your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny reviews, and we will be there. If you want to get the show ad-free, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like our Patreon producers did. Muhammad, Blackjack, Al Tribesman, and Connor Nolan joining the troops here. Kono, baby.
No. Connor's got to have at least one more week of me hearing his name before I ascribe him a nickname.
Okay.
Connor
What are the chances that he's
the-
just Kono?
It's going to be I mean, Connor's great. Andy, you knocked it out of the park.
Thank you.
I went to school with a kid in grade school named Connor Dowell, so we could call him Connor Dowell.
Okay.
Change his name.
Not a nickname per se, just another name. Just a whole other name.
Terrible.
Kind of funny
nickname.
is only good at one thing, is that the word association.
And we're not even good at it.
No, we're awful at it. Yeah.
We're bad
Ladies
at
and
it.
gentlemen, today we are talking about Clerks 2, originally called, Greg,
I don't know.
there's a Dogma reference,
Too many clerks.
Clerks 2, Hardly Clerkin', which is...
Oh, well, that's what Clerks 2 is called. Yeah, the credits. Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of Dogma, it said, like, they'll return in Clerks 2, Hardly Clerkin'. They ended up not calling it that. Then for a long time, this movie was called The Passion of the Clerks. And they got a lot of negative feedback for that. So then they changed it to just Clerks 2.
Clerking off. That's what I would've
Originally, that's good.
Good job, Andy.
Released on May 26, 2006. Once again, directed by Kevin Smith. A budget. So last week, when we did Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, biggest movie they did, $22 million. Clerks 2. You guys want to guess?
$5
$5 million.
Wow.
Fucking nailed it right on the money, man. $5 million.
It seems like a $5 million movie where it's barely theatrically released
It's
film.
barely a movie.
Come on. I thought it was the best looking movie they've done.
Oh, it's actually.
I like a
Oh,
decent
okay.
camera. Looks
I
good.
think it's fine looking. It's just a matter of like sometimes like Kevin Smith's movies, in my opinion, are best when they're in that 5 to 10 million range, where you don't have the polish and you've got some weird ass moments. And just, I think this is more Kevin Smith than Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I think it's less commercial and I think it's a little bit more nuanced. But it definitely has a feel. I mean, shout out to him for using the same DP for all of his movies, right? Like, I think it's the same guy. I think this is the same guy that shot Clerks. And like watching his progression of how much better he's gotten over the last like 5 films is pretty impressive.
The film screened out of a competition at the 2006, is it Cannes Film Festival?
Cannes.
Right? That's right.
It's just
Oh,
called
can. Yeah, you're right.
Cannes Film Festival. And
No,
won
no
the audience. What?
No S.
It's pronounced
There is-
just Cannes, like a Cannes
Oh, wait,
Film
what?
Festival.
Yeah, you don't pronounce it.
There's an S on the end of it, but the French are weird.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't know how to say it. I would have never expected it if you don't pronounce the S. Maybe it's Cannes. Maybe it's Canes.
Canny.
Didn't think it was just Cannes.
Cannes. Yeah,
Anyways.
we can ask Jen for sure because she speaks French, but I'm pretty sure it's just Cannes Film Festival.
Hey Jen, in reviews asking for the Cannes Film Festival, Cannes, Cannes, right?
Yeah, that's right, Can. But she said it like Con.
Yeah, she said it more fun. I don't know, guys.
Which is
Anyways,
fine. It's awesome. All right, you know,
Hey,
we're
what's the name of
Americans.
your phone? You're too
I
far
think it's
away,
like
I
in
gotta move
between on and an, and it's
But
on.
that's but as Americans, our
On.
dumb mouths can't make that sound. We can't make
Yeah.
that sound.
Can.
I could do
Regardless.
anything, man.
it won the audience award at the 2006 Edinburgh International Film Festival as well, before receiving a theatrical release on July 21st, 2006. Okay, so a different date then. To critical and commercial success, grossing $27 million from the $5 million budget.
There it is.
That's
There
a
it is.
profit, Nick.
That's
That is
a
a good
lot of a
profit.
profit.
That's what happens. See, this is when you just give Kevin Smith $5 million and let him make a movie. Don't give him $22 million. Let him bury himself with it. He doesn't know what to do with all that money.
Runtime of 1 hour and 37 minutes. What we think? Clerks 2.
I love this
Hardly
movie.
clerking.
What's that?
He said,
Oh,
"What
Greg,
do we
what'd you say?
think?" I said, "I love you." This movie. He said, "Hardly clerking."
I had a weird reaction to this one. I was kind of bored this time watching it. I don't think I'd watched it since it came out in theaters, and I remember thinking like, "Oh, I can't wait to see Rosario Dawson on screen." And she, of course, never disappoints. She is unbelievable in everything she does, and she's so great in this movie. But I can't help but thinking every time she's on screen, I'm like, man, she really deserves a better movie than this because she has so much more presence and acting chops than everyone else in this movie that I almost wish they didn't cast her. I wish they cast someone who was a worse actor so that
Do you know who they would have cast?
No.
If she turned down the role, which they expected she was going to.
Yeah.
No
shit.
Kevin Smith's wife, Jennifer Schwab-Bloch Smith, would have played the part.
That would have been.
And is that the same person that was in Jay and Silent Bob, Greg?
Yeah. So
Well,
she
yeah,
plays.
but it's
She plays
same
the
person
she's
in this
this.
movie. She's
Yeah.
Emma in this movie.
Emma.
And
Oh.
She named Emma.
because of
What?
the
Much like the character Caitlin Bree in the original Clerks was named after Caitlin Ryan from Degrassi High. Dante's fiance Emma in this film is named after Emma Nelson from Degrassi: The Next Generation. Never fucking forget. Best teen drama of all time.
Jesus,
Amazing.
all right. Did you
Yeah,
know that was
she's-
her though, Tim?
What's up?
Did you know that was her?
No.
Really?
Make sure. Because I wanted your reaction on that. You immediately pivoted. Do you know why she's called Emma? I was like, I don't know.
No, I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah, she to me is the worst part of this movie, and that's not to say that she's like terrible. I just feel like well, that's fair because I think Dante's pretty freaking creepy and bad too. But I think that was a missed opportunity to cast someone that in from the universe that could have come in potentially and played a different role and brought a little bit more to the part. I just don't think, and I just think she's not that seasoned of an actor, and in this, it doesn't work for me. And the Dante character, I think again, Brian O'Halloran is his name, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so weird watching this movie because the chemistry is completely off. The only people that have great chemistry together are Dante and Randall. And you see that because the scene that really always stands out in my brain is the very last scene where they're standing in the prison and they're having it out and they're having an actual real moment and there's real heart in it. And I'm like, oh, this movie just went up like 5 notches in my book because I'm really invested in this scene. And every time they're on camera, like talking shit to each other and having horrible conversations, stuff like that, that's fine too. But every time we step out of that world and we step into like, I don't know, Dante making out with Kevin Smith's wife on the swing set, I'm like, I don't want this. And then every time he's like, Rosario Dawson, we see her and she smiles and she lights up the screen and she's just fucking amazing and delightful. And then it cuts to the reverse shot of Dante creepily looking like this, like a fucking gargoyle. I'm like, what is going on with this? Also, it was the mid 2000s when this movie came out, right? 2006?
2006. Yeah.
What? No one had goatees at that point. If you still had a goatee, you were a criminal.
They were
what you
outlawed, yeah.
That was what you were doing.
That's
so
how
that's-
you could identify him.
Yeah, there's so much of this movie that doesn't work for me, but then there's so much of it that I think is just classic Clerks, which is the back and forth between them standing behind a fucking a desk or a checkout stand, talking shit to the customers, and those scenes for me work.
Yeah, for me, it's so, obviously coming off of the last 4 of the In Review series here, I think movies that were so definitive and, helped guide my sense of humor and probably moral compass and a whole bunch of different things. It's interesting that I think if you would have talked to me before we started In Review of what I thought of Clerks 2, I would have been like, oh, thank you. Oh, I remember. Wait, cans?
Can.
She says.
Can.
I would have said like, oh, I remember watching it, but I was, I wasn't crazy about it. I didn't see Clerks 2 in the theater. I'd waited till it came to DVD. 2006, I would have been working at the Tribune, like I would have been, starting my life or whatever. And I don't know. Like,
Why
I
was
would have told
that,
you.
though?
That's the thing
crazy.
is I think that what's interesting about it is like for me, and it's a weird thing to say, but I feel like Jay and Silent Bob, like when Strikes Back ended and they closed the book, like that was me also being like, cool, that's done, that's away. And then I think I stepped away from and granted going to college and 9/11 and all these different things happened, but I think I stepped away in being an Antler and being at Mizzou, and I think I stepped away from being on the website and the message boards and in following the universe to that degree. That by the time
Greg, you grew out.
I grew up, man. By the time Clerks 2 came around, I think it was that thing of like, oh, that's cool that it's back, but I had kind of and not been longing for it. I thought we were done. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I'm glad whatever. I'm glad Kevin Smith's making movies and whatever. And I remember watching it and liking it and putting it down and never buying it, never watching it again, never doing anything. So going back into it last night, I was surprised to find that I was exactly where Nick is, where I was just like, this is boring. Like, I'm ready for this to be over with. And for me, I think, it's interesting. And I was talking to Jen, we had our own interview afterwards talking about it, where I feel for me, the movie would have been so much stronger if it started, or at least in the first act, got to where it ended. Like, throughout the thing, I talk about these movies being time capsules and being able to see yourself in them and whatever. And starting Clerks 2 exactly where they were in Clerks 1 and having conversations that feel honestly very similar to exactly what they talked about in Clerks 1 is like, well, what's the point of all this? Like, where are we going? What's going to happen? And so by the time you get to the point that Randall, like, I love you, you're my best friend, don't leave me, it's like, you're right, that is a really endearing thing. However, we've had an hour and 20 minutes of you again. I think similar to how Jay and Silent Bob turned into cartoon characters in Strikes Back. I think Randall is an amplified caricature of himself in this, more in line with the animated series. I think even the animated series Randall was more endearing than this Randall. Like this Randall, in Clerks 1, Randall's sure you're a sarcastic 20-something asshole friend, right? But you do know that he likes you, and that is how you all ribbed each other and hang out and blah blah blah. To get to this and then have him still be even worse about that, even more cutting, even more angry, even more like out there in shock value-y, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, about I think what Kevin Smith similar. I think how he undersold himself with Jay and Silent Bob, being like, oh, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I'm a dick and fart joke guy, I'm gonna make a dick and fart joke movie. I think this one is the same thing of I'm making Clerks 2. What did people like about Clerks 1? They loved, that they were put on their ass by these conversations they never heard on screen, in terms of blowjobs and really graphic sex and yada, yada, yada. I'm going to do that here. And instead of it being blowjobs and this weird necrophilia thing that wasn't really necrophilia, you know what I mean? It's this really weird racial thing for Randall that never is resolved and doesn't really go anywhere. And then it's also this bestiality angle. And you're like, ooh, like, I this is why? And like, it just doesn't work for me. I think the ending is super strong. I think getting them to, Randall to finally say he loves Dante and, that they are best friends that way works. But I'm right there with you that the whole Emma thing with Brian O'Halloran, it doesn't work for me. Like, I don't think they have chemistry. And it's just a weird thing again of, again, we're just back to having this same Veronica character that we had before. Maybe. And I mean, like, I guess the only thing we can sit there and talk shit about with Emma is that she's making decisions for Dante, who, as we have seen, can't make a decision since 1994.
Like 33 years old and flipping burgers at a fucking McDonald's. So someone needs to come in and make decisions for this guy. Otherwise he stands still.
And that's the thing is I just don't at any point, like, I think Clerks, you sat there and you're like, I have these conversations with my friends and we all work dumb jobs and we love hanging out. Right. And Mallrats, to some extent, it's a similar thing of comic books or dumb drama before it gets into like, we're trying to be Porky's. Chasing Amy, relationship, inexperience and how you deal with that. Jay and Silent Bob, again, that's where I think a dick and fart joke movie. And then for this movie to come back, there's parts of it that I think are hilarious and shine and do really well. But overall, like I'm looking, I had to go look for the first time in forever of like, what happened in this movie? Like, what am I going to recap exactly? Like, okay, cool. They argue about Lord of the Rings and this happens and they're really mean to Elias and like the fucking pillow pants troll, hilarious, obviously. I think Jay and Silent Bob are awesome in this. I think Jay is the best Jay he's been in the entire series. I think in this movie, like, he fucking crushes it. Like, I love Rosario Dawson, but again, it's like, Dante, you fucking suck. You know what I mean? Like, when he starts painting her nails and you're like, wow, that's too intimate. It's like, oh, we fucked a couple weeks ago. Jesus. All right. Yeah. You just suck. Like, why would I root for you at all? I don't care what happens to you.
And also just sort of like the same acting,
has not gotten any better.
But it's so bizarre because like anytime they have that same back and forth, it sounds like you close your eyes and it sounds like the first Clerks. Like it's the same. Well, this and this happened. It's like that dialogue.
Jesus,
rhythm.
Randall.
The rhythm of it all just sounds so similar. I'm kind of with Greg. I didn't really know what to expect coming into this, and yeah, the shock value for shock value's sake was kind of threw me off guard, and I felt like I was being caught doing something wrong while listening to the dialogue often in this movie. But the pillow pan stuff made me laugh. This movie had a couple legitimate large laughs for me, but it was so bizarre. I agree with Nick where seeing Rosario Dawson on screen she's great in every way, and then it just cuts back to Dante, and it's just like, man, you don't belong here anymore, man. Like this is not, you're not in this league anymore. And yeah, I didn't hate the movie by any means. Like I don't think I was bored by it, but I was just sort of always interested in like, what is this sort of it's like when an old game gets remade. Like that's what this sort of reminded me of. Like, how are they going to make this? How are they going to turn that old Clerks movie that we loved because it felt so personal and it felt so low budget? How are they going to turn that into a movie in 2006? And I liked some of it, and I didn't like a decent amount of it as well.
Yeah, I'm in the same place as it seems like everyone is except Kevin. But I really disliked this, and I feel like I just dislike the Kevin Smith movies. Like now that we're 6 in, it's just I feel every little bit that I've liked about them, we've gotten further and further away from, and they double down on the things that I think that I like, and then when they do that, it's this movie, and I'm like, oh fuck, like. I thought I liked those conversations, but then in the context of what this movie is, I'm kind of just put off by it. And like, I don't know if bored's the word, but I'm not enjoying it. And go for it.
No, I think for me, again, it rings true to the thing we talk about with Clerks, and we talk about the line in Chasing Amy, right? Of Kevin having something personal to say. Like, I look at this movie and I don't see what he's trying to say. You know what I mean? I mean,
again, I feel like I keep saying this. We keep saying that every single time, and then we find something. It's always easy to find what is this about, whatever. And like this one, it's like it's about best friendship, and it's about
but that's bullshit. That's
totally though. But I feel like
executed.
But now I feel like going back, it's like it's horribly executed in all of them. And it's just like there is always a concept. There's always something that they're trying to do through these conversations that are the exact same conversations in every single movie. And it just feels weird to me where the reason that Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back worked the most for me is that it just committed to, we're just connecting these worlds that are vapid nothingness, but at least they're connected. And that to have more after it and for it to be this is kind of like, oh my God, like you made a sequel to the first one, the one that had the most kind of going for it, and really what did it have going for it? Just the fact that it was different. And it's like, when you do something again, it's not different anymore. And when you do it worse, that's the bad sign of, filmmaking, really, especially when it's 20 years later, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest thing too is like capturing the vibe of Clerks is hard, right? It's so difficult to go back to that world after you've changed as a filmmaker. You've become a millionaire. You've made all sorts of different films. You're a huge household name at this point. Well, not a huge household name, but in the filmmaking community, you're a big name. And going back in and trying to recreate the vibe of Clerks, I think was where he kind of failed in this. In that, like, you know, keeping it small, the smallness, the intimacy of just having it happen in those two locations. You don't feel that here, even though it does happen in this movies. Also, there's just nothing fun about the movies. There's nothing that has a charisma or a character to the place. And to Greg's earlier point, I never really thought of it, but it would have been amazing if if this movie was about their friendship being reformed as they tried to rebuild the Quick Stop. I think to me that would have been a much more fascinating movie. But instead they literally burn it down and then have to rebuild it over the span of the hour and 30 minutes.
No, they rebuild it over the span of the 5 minutes at the end montage.
10 seconds, yeah. But I mean, that to me is much more fun because that's what these two characters are. Also, just at the end though, like one of the things that I always found at odds with this one was that the idea was always from Clerks was that these two characters were sort of lost, right? Like they sort of are aimless. They don't have ambition. They don't know what they want to do with their lives, but they have angst about that. At least Dante does. Whereas I'm not even supposed to be here today. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. And then to have them finally come to the conclusion that they are happy being unhappy loafs is just not fulfilling for me in any shape of the imagination. Like to a degree, I can say, okay, they're going to be business owners and that's fine, I guess. But like, hey, we were happiest being miserable shits behind this clerk counter. It's just that's not fun for me. That's not a really fitting end as far as I'm concerned. Luckily, we're getting Clerks 3, so we'll see what they do with that. Maybe they kill each other.
Let's go.
That's my thing is like, what can we do? It's not future spoilers because we haven't seen it, but the synopsis of Clerks 3 has been talked about. Can I talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. That's
So the synopsis of Clerks 3 is similar to what I think we're talking about, Nick, of how we wanted to see the ending of this movie be the start of that movie, where it's, again, Kevin has something to say, and he's going to take his heart attack into that world, and Dante has a heart attack, and after he survives it, he's like, I need to do something, and he decides to make Clerks, the movie, in the quick stop.
Oh,
Like,
that's cool.
He's going to, and like immediately I'm like, that's brilliant. Like, I'd love to see that in their world with them chasing that, right? And I know future spoilers, but like Reboot coming up, I think has a way better arc too in terms of like why we're doing this. And that's my thing here. It's just like, I think Clerks 1, right, has such a strong ending for Randall of self-realization, even where when they're after the fight and they're surrounded by all the junk food laying on the ground, he oh fuck you, throws him with all the food. He's like, if we're so fucking superior, why the fuck are we here, right? Like, it was this realization that then built to them at the end, like, yeah, do you need help? Now you're closed, and they walk out, and you're like, they've both learned something and are gonna go from here. And then we get here, that movie is 94, and we get here in 2006, so 12 years later, and nope. None of that actually happened. They've gone nowhere. If anything, they've regressed. And Randall's way more bitter and in battles, right? Dante still can't make a decision. Is like stringing this woman along, and also, I mean, kind of Rosario Dawson, but not really, I guess.
Man, I'm not looking forward to Brian O'Halloran acting out a heart attack.
Yeah, man, that's the thing too, I guess, that Greg, just kind of riffing off that point for a second, like there's something endearing, or not endearing, but like accessible and acceptable and forgivable about 20-somethings working at a convenience store and trying to figure out what's going on with their life.
Yeah.
But then it becomes very depressing when those same 20-somethings 12 years later are now mid-30s and have done literally nothing. But it's not as fun to watch them adventure around and be irresponsible. You just kind of feel to yourself like, wow, these are adults and they're fucking losers.
I always thought that was the point of the movie. Like the whole point of the movie is that they're stuck, and then like because there's no real resolution in the last movie. Like in the last movie, they're like, all right, we're gonna make my life better, but like that's just surface talk. Like same with this movie. This movie ends and they're going back to the quick stop where like it's.
But there's a thing about so it's like when you go back and watch Animal House, right? There's an endearing quality to being, to saying I don't give a fuck and partying your ass off in college when you're in your 20s and you're trying to figure it out.
And not to mention, Animal House ends with the "Hey, where are they now?" thing.
Right.
Like we get to see that glimpse of their lives of them being.
They'll become politicians.
Boys,
yeah, exactly.
Pluto does,
but that's the thing is like when you catch up with those people again in their 30s and they're still partying like there's no tomorrow, and meanwhile all of their contemporaries have moved on to like great careers and kids, it just becomes very depressing. And I remember watching this the first time thinking, I don't really want to root for these guys because they're fucking losers, and they don't really understand. They're not fun to watch anymore because it's kind of sad.
Like, I feel like one of the most poignant moments this movie has is after they get shit on by what's his
Jason
face?
Lee.
Jason Lee. And what does Randall do? He goes and
writes the bumper cards.
Yeah. And like it's just one of those things where it's like it's a pretty moment, but it's also like that's how they solve their problems, by just going and pretending none of it exists, It's
depressing.
Yeah, but like that's what in the crux of this movie, I always felt like that's what it is. Like these guys never learned to solve anything, and even at the end, someone else comes in and solves it.
Well, that's my problem with it, though, is that like I agree with you, Kev, that like not every movie needs to be about bettering yourself and all this shit. They get bettered at the end, and it's just like.
But I don't know that they do. Like I just feel like they are like, oh, this is what we want to do, and someone there is like, fuck, I don't care. All right, we'll make it happen. But like it's Dante's such a weird character where like it's always like he's not really making choices for himself. He's just seeing the options and being like, I guess I'll go this way. Like what he could go and stay with at the end he can't, right? He ruins his relationship with his girlfriend.
Yeah, she's gone.
Right.
Once she knocks someone else out, it's like,
right.
And she's Rosario Dawson. You're like, wow.
So he's gonna stay with Rosario Dawson, who, like, I guess they like each other. It just
they love each other. They say it, Kevin.
Yeah, but like
he proposes.
Yeah, but that just all seems very like forced and not like that's not a decision he's making as much as like she's pregnant. So I guess what do?
But that leads to the realization that they love each other. You know what I mean? Well, I guess he knew that beforehand because he says he loves her up on the roof, right? Doesn't he? Before he drops her.
Mm-hmm.
And for the record, there's nothing wrong with working at fast food. It's the
No,
fact they all
no,
hate
but
it.
like people
No,
do
no.
that. Yeah. Like
that wasn't me
that's-
knocking
yeah.
any of us. I was just making it very clear because we keep saying that, but I think what we're saying is they clearly don't want to. They have a whole conversation in the back room of this shit shack or whatever the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah. I just have a feeling that in the next movie they're gonna have plenty of conversations where they like talk about hating the working at Quick Stop again.
At the Quick Stop,
Yeah. Because that's just the kind of people they are.
But like that's my thing is like if you wanted to do that, then the resolution for this, and sorry Tim, I know we got to get to the plot, but the resolution should have been they have become the business owners, and then you usher in a new era of clerks who are shitty little 20-year-olds who have the same issues, only mirrored now more contemporarily with how do you find your way in the world today? Exactly. Like
I
Bad
don't
Boys.
think really quick. One last. I don't think that like this is gonna happen, but it would be cool if like they make a movie and find out that their passion is like sharing their story, and like that's where they find their happiness. Realizing that their life, what they've been doing for a living is the wrong thing, and like making movies is what they should have been doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
didn't they, a side note, non sequitur. Didn't they make a movie called Making Clerks? Isn't that like a movie? Didn't someone make a faux mockumentary about like that was done by Kevin Smith about making Clerks?
I don't know.
I feel like Kevin and Greg Miller should know.
Shooting Clerks.
Shooting
Clerks
is a 2019 British-American biographical comedy drama film directed by Christopher Downey and starring Brian O'Halloran, Mark Frost, Jason Mewes, and some other people, including Kevin Smith. Let's see. It's a biographical dramedy detailing how Kevin Smith bankrolled his $27,000 first film with maxed out credit cards. Interesting.
Yeah, this looks like something that like the stills of it are
So
interesting.
this is like, to me, I'm like, this is what if you're gonna make Clerks 3, that's what this should be, which is just make that story, and make it in the Askewniverse, and just I don't know. That's way more fascinating to me than trying to shoehorn in Brian O'Halloran and Randall. Why the fuck can't I remember that guy's name? Jeff Anderson, is that his name?
Yeah.
Like I don't know those guys. I mean, there's also at a certain point you're like, these guys are like 50. I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch them struggling with the same issues. They're never going to get over it. I don't feel like there's ever a resolution for these issues that they have. So who cares? But yeah, we'll see.
Plot.
There's a
Game over, Greggy.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Greg. Welcome to the plot for Clerks 2. Hardly clerking. So we start in black and white, which I think is a great touch of Dante driving up to the old Quick Stop. He climbs out. It's very reminiscent of Clerks 1. He undoes the shutter. He unlocks the shutters. He lifts them up, and the Quick Stop is on fire. He slams it back down, takes off his glasses in disbelief, opens it back up. The Quick Stop is on fire. He calls it into I love how the shots in black and white, the fire is in color. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
He calls into the fire department. We then get the fire department out there trying to put out the fire on the Quick Stop. Dante sitting in disbelief on the fire truck watching. We're in color now, by the way. Randall Graves shows up. He walks on into the Quick Stop, which is clearly burnt. It has burnt down. The fire's been put out. A fireman escorts him back out. Well, he walks over to Dante. He's like, what the fuck? Fire? He goes, terrorists? Dante's like, no. And then he's like, fuck, I left a coffee pot on again, didn't I? Dante shakes his head, yes. From there, there's a time jump. We're in Dante's car. We're driving to Randall. We already have Randall. We get Randall and Dante are in the car. They're driving to work. They're in movie outfits. They work at movies now.
Do you think, by the way, that Tim Schafer could play Dante in a movie?
Yeah, I think Tim Schafer can do whatever he wants.
Right?
Like,
Do you think you play Dante better?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
for sure.
Maybe.
Brian O'Halloran is Dante. There's no way you get around it, guys. I'm sorry. Can't
It's
do that.
unfortunate.
Can't recast it.
We'll see.
So now they're working.
What the hell does that mean?
In Clerks 3.
Sounds like he's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
What do you know? Tim? What do you know? What do you know that we don't
No,
know?
they're doing Clerks 3. It's going to be someone else playing Dante, and he's going to be a better Dante than him.
No way.
God,
Clerks
that'd
3.
be
It'll be
great.
him.
No, I
Yeah,
know,
maybe.
but in the movie that they're making of Clerks,
Gotcha.
in Clerks 3, it'll
Bring
be a
us
better
Tim
Dante than
Schafer.
him.
Wow, that would be full circle if we somehow got Tim Schafer in there. Like, we get even older Dante. Can we get that? Tim Schafer's like, I can do it. I'll put all my games on hold. So yeah, now we get the opening crew at movies, to which Jen turned to me like, oh, they're openers. They're a big deal. They go through and it's very Clerks 1 of them doing all the different stuff, getting everything turned on, turning on the coffee pots. The thing that haunted me for the longest time as somebody who loves Egg McMuffin, them cutting into that egg product
Oh, are
roll.
you kidding? I love that. Every time makes me hungry.
Kevin, you're a sick fuck.
What am I gonna do? That's where they come
not real,
from,
right? That's
you know?
not how they cook Egg McMuffins, right?
I think it was for a long time. Now they like do the thing where they put down the little metal ring and drop it in there.
Yeah.
But for a long
I
time,
think they do that at McDonald's headquarters and send the frozen egg to them, and then they do it in the little steamer trays, right?
I don't
They're
know.
not actually. Nobody at
This is
McDonald's.
one of those
cracks
things
a
I'm not
fucking egg back
googling.
there.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to know
You
either.
shouldn't want to know.
want it.
But
This
I
is
would
gonna
eat the
ruin
shit
college
out of
junior
that
for me.
roll thing. Do you remember that infomercial thing that they were selling where you put the egg in the hole and then an egg popsicle pops out? Nick, you must know about this.
Let's get
What?
McDonald's for
Ugh.
lunch today, guys.
I'm
You guys wanna
in.
get McDonald's?
Please
Let's
get
get
egg
McDonald's.
That sounds
Damn,
awful.
Andy, Google egg popsicle.
I'm
I
not.
remember.
Come on, Andy.
All right. Sadly, everything that's coming up is how to make an egg McMuffin at home, so I can't tell you right now how they make it.
Can you send that to me?
Sure. Google how to make an egg McMuffin.
Sure. Here you go.
So they get the store ready to open, and then they're back in their opening positions. Then we're outside and introduced to the new and improved Jay and Silent Bob. Jay and Bob walk up with a giant boombox, way more like the Clerks Jay and Silent Bob that we've known before. Then Ethan Suppley, whatever his name is, right? We always talk about sailboat,
You nailed it.
goddamn sailboat. And the guy from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back who tried to buy weed. They walk over. There's a whole interaction here of like, they're cool drug dealers that are coming over here. He does the same thing. And he's like, oh yeah, Jay does the same song and dance. Oh yeah, he likes to sing. And he's like, you guys have been away for a while. Where'd you go? And Jay tells the story, of course, that they got pinched by the cops. They had a whole bunch of weed on them or whatever. They got sent to rehab by the judge or whatever. So they're out now and they've been clean. Is it 6 months, Kevin? Am I fucking that up? 60 days, 6 months.
They've done their 6-month chip like the day before or 2 days before.
Kevin,
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
going to open the Slack, Kevin. I'm not going to open the
Andy,
Slack.
just open it,
Andy.
please.
Don't be wuss.
I'll send it
Open
to
Send it
Nick.
to
I'll send it to Nick. He can let you know.
Send it to me. I want to see the egg popsicle.
No, Greg, it's too much.
Ew,
for you.
it's coming out. Ew.
I want to see it.
Nick already
looks
sent
like
it to you.
it.
Greg already sent it to you.
Coming out of the
I made it.
funnel.
Tim, do you want to see it too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got to show everybody now.
God damn
You
it!
gotta
All right, give me a
show
second. Give me-
Best Rolly Egg Master gifts. What the fuck is it?
Tim needs to
Rolly?
see it.
Open link
So wait,
in
I
Tim.
put this thing in, I crack an egg and I put it in, Kevin, and then
Yeah.
it makes me this. How long does it take to make the egg?
This egg popsicle.
This thing is not what I was expecting.
You can
At
put a
all.
skewer in it, like as it's making it, and then it's
Yeah.
on the skewer. Which I don't
It's
know
like
why
I need
you'd
a-
want to do that.
Oh
It
my
looks like
God,
it's got
is
a
that
little bit of
disgusting.
foreskin, like a little foreskin on it.
Oh, God.
Application. Nick, don't say things like that.
Andy,
That's
you're
nasty.
trapped in this life.
There. Now they
There's
can
no
see it on
escape.
my screen.
There it is.
Wow.
Oh,
That is
gee.
That is a sight to behold.
Does it have a little sphincter so it can cut it off?
Nick, you say the word, we'll buy it and find out. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Ew,
Get one,
look
ship it
at
to Tim's house and make Cool Greg deal with it.
Oh.
So yeah, they talk there, and then they also introduce that they found God. Like, isn't it like hard not to smoke weed that you're dealing or whatever? No, not that they found the Lord or whatever, and they have a Bible that they hold up and they're all excited about. And is this where it is? There's a lot of interesting things you could read in the Bible. Like, did you know Jesus was a Jew? Yeah. That's Jay and Silent Bob though. They're back. They're dealing outside. They've got a boombox. Back inside.
Wait, is this when he's like, put that shit, $15, little man, put
Yep.
that shit in my hand?
Yeah, we talked
Great.
about that. Then back in the store.
I was looking at the fucking the egg anus.
Inside, we get an update from Randall and Dante here. Randall's over on the message boards of some disabled person's blog.
Just being a piece of shit.
Trolling them and talking about how, again, this is where it's like, I remember watching this being like, what? Like, it's like Randall, again, is cranking. We're going to crank Randall up to 11. You're like, but I don't find this Randall endearing. And there's the interesting commentary, right, from Dante about like, Randall's like, oh, this guy just wastes his time posting all this shit on the internet. And he's like, and you waste your time going in there to, argue with them or whatever. But again, that's buried pretty quickly as we just get back to Randall being offensive and being like, this is what I do. And yeah, I'm talking about how great my legs work and how I'm enjoying, and how I'm going to drive down the block instead of walk.
I mean,
No, go ahead, Kev.
I was just gonna say, like, this is when you leave a troll to become a troll, it just becomes more of a troll, you know. Same
There
with
was always a quality of Randall that you were like, I kind of appreciate why he's doing it because the customers that he has to deal with are so dumb. or such assholes. And this is his sort of way of dealing with being in this situation and navigating it. It's by being even a bigger prick to these people and taking it out on them. And there was something, if you've ever worked customer service, there's a little party that's like, yeah, I wish I could have done that. Not to the degree that he does it. In this, he's just like, wow, you're just being like a horrible human being, and that's the thing.
He's just he was character. He's Cartman in this,
but he was in the first one. Like he spit on someone randomly. He sold cigarettes to a 4-year-old child. Like he was he's always been a bad, shitty person.
But there was this guise of in Clerks, the original Clerks, that he was doing, to Nick's point of like if you worked in customer service, he was doing the things you wish you could do, kind of thing. And I'm not saying that makes him good or bad, you know what I mean? But now he's just doing things. Like, why would anyone want to do this? Why would
zero purpose? He's just being an asshole for asshole's sake, for malicious sake. Which again, yeah, you're right, Kevin. He's not the character that I want to be in any of these movies, for sure, even in Clerks. But there was a part of like there was a catharsis that you'd see when, you know, some annoying person came into the store and he was like, well, I'm going to take this opportunity to order a shit ton of pornographic movies or whatever, just so that this person knows that.
Let's remember what the scene you're talking about. It's a woman who's asking for a movie with her child.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that was a poor example.
Yeah. But I feel like we analyze all the examples. They're all shitty examples of him just being a piece of shit. It's endearing because we have all that hostility. Those of us that work those kind of jobs. They have a
moment in Clerks where he's like, where they go through the litany of the stupid questions that people have to deal with every day. Sure. And so when they do that, you're like, oh, I kind of understand if this were your world and every day you had to deal with these stupid people, how you might lash out.
But this was our world. I worked at retail for 2 years. You worked in food service for multiple years, and it's like, no one lashes out like that.
Well, you're missing the point. The point is that he is the character. He is the id. He is the person that all of us wish. Like, there's a part of every time some asshole customer, when I was serving food, said something stupid to me, I wish part of me could get away with talking shit to that person, but you can't do that in real life. So when we watch this character in Clerks, you go, oh, okay. It's fun to watch him because he's that little evil shit part of all of us that gets revenge on these people who don't give a fuck about the person standing behind the counter. But in this movie, he's literally making fun of a disabled person for no reason. No reason.
Yeah.
Other than the person just on a forum trying to figure out how to make life better for themselves. And that makes like whatever literal redeemable quality that Randall had in the first one is just gone for the first hour and 15 minutes of this movie.
So we also got a bunch of exposition here on what's going on, right? This is Dante's final day at work. In the morning, him and his fiance Emma are going to Florida, where Dante will run a car wash that Emma's father owns, and they will. In a second, we'll be told they're getting a house as a wedding present as well, or whatever. Randall bags on him for this, of course, not to the extent that he will later or whatever, but just like this is what's going on, yada yada yada. Around this point, his fiance Emma walks in. She's wearing a shirt that says Mrs. Hicks to really drive home the part that she loves him, I guess.
I love that. Right. I love that.
I think it's weird as fuck.
Wait, didn't your fiance wear a shirt with your face all over it?
Yeah, but I'm not Dante.
It's a great point.
You could be Dante, though.
A lot of people think you're very similar to Dante if you think about it. Blonde hair.
Which makes Andy Randall.
Oh, man.
Would it make Andy Randall?
Handle.
Handle. She hops up on the counter and starts making out with Dante while Ben Affleck is there to order his food or whatever.
Just watching.
He eventually gets, yeah, exactly. Randall walks over, he's like, "Stop watching, you perv." And then he eventually gets his food. He's like, I'm not gonna say anything. It's just very unhygienic, and leaves. Randall watches them make out for a while, so Emma drags Dante outside, where they again furiously continue to make out. Again, yes, movie number 2 here. Kevin Smith casts his wife, then has him make out with people.
It's a turn on of his.
Good for him, man. They make out.
Feet.
True. They make out outside on the swing for a while and start talking about leaving and how they're gonna go and how she's not gonna miss this place. And he's like, "I bet when we get to the state line, you'll miss it or whatever." And she's like, "No, nothing good ever happened here." Blah blah blah. More recap of what a loser Dante is and how this is gonna be their salvation. Whose phone keeps fucking vibrating?
Sorry. I don't know what gets picked up by the
I'm gonna take this interruption to ask you guys a question. What color is Dante's hair?
Thank you. Great question. Well, it's clearly dyed. His hair is brown. His beard is black, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But none of it's blonde.
No,
Correct? No,
Tim,
no.
that was the joke.
You don't like to fuck with you, blondie McBlonder sitting over there. You know what I mean?
I don't know
His hair is
exactly.
not
I didn't
nearly
know
as
he
blonde
had
as
hair.
yours,
I couldn't
Tim.
get past his creepy ass eyes every time he was like leering at Rosario Dawson.
For the record, he's a human being. Like, I don't know, his creepy ass eyes isn't him acting. It's how he looks.
No, it is though. Like I feel like he doesn't need to look that way, but he is doing this weird, like intentional look.
That's how he shows love.
Yeah.
How do you when you look at I've
Don't
seen
show
how you look
love
at
that
Gio.
way.
This is you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again,
Looking
I'm
at
not Dante, so it's okay.
Close though.
Terrible.
While they're outside making eventually Randall comes out in Randall comes out and he's talking he watches them make out, and then they stop, and then he's like, oh, what's going on? And they're like, I came out here to talk to you because you guys were talking. And she's like, you just want to see me make out? And he's like, no, you were no longer a woman as soon as you started dating my best friend. And he's like, I don't even see you as a female anymore. So she lifts her shirt, showing her see-through bra and nips. And he's like, oh, that's too much. And she's like, if you don't leave, I'll show you my pooter. And he's like, what? And she starts undoing her pants, and he leaves. And he's like, all right, cool. He goes
Nick
back
write
in.
this?
Huh?
No, I would not
Nick
put
write
that.
this?
Knowing that, yeah, I don't. The thing is, like, I just don't find that character to be that role, right? It's just Jen. She's fine. She's just so miscast in this because she doesn't. First off, she comes off like her presence is too mature to be playing this like let's put my hair up in ponytails and let's make out on the swing set thing, right? Like she comes off as like a 40-year-old in this who's got her shit together, but then they have her doing these weird things that just are so not right
like
for
a
this
horny high school teen.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. And it would be okay if that character to me was like, oh, I'm super insecure because I'm dating the Ben Affleck of the world who is super good looking and can get whatever they want. But like she needed to be way more unlikable in this movie for me to forgive Dante for cheating on her and knocking up someone else. And she's
like
not.
I said at the top, right? Like it seems like the biggest thing is that she's controlling when in reality she's trying to build a better life for a person she clearly loves, or you know, I mean, wants
Who
the best for. I don't think she's doing it to
build
be an
it on
asshole.
his own.
No.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, like you have to have this character if you want to have a fitting resolution be horrible, but like she has to be the one that cheated on him. She has to be the one that mistreated him for me to look at that and go, okay, it warrants him breaking up with her and moving on to this other person that he clearly has more feelings for. But she just ends up like, it's also weird because for the first like maybe 20 minutes of this movie, she's just really nice. She brings him like, you know what I mean? And it's not until like midway through we start getting she's a little more pushy than she should be.
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
But I mean,
But
he
the
needs
biggest transgression
that, right?
is picking their wedding date. It's like
No, but
like,
but
yeah,
even exactly. I don't ever see the
like
the
my wife
bitchy. I don't
I
ever
wouldn't
see the
have done it.
bitchy girlfriend fiance character. We don't like. Okay, she's pushy or whatever, but like it never comes off. They don't do a good enough job of showing her as being this awful person that Dante needs to get away from, like they do in other movies. Like whenever like the cute girl's dating like the hot guy, and he's like like in like I think of like Wedding Crashers.
Right.
You know, like what's
that? Yeah, what's
I can't
his
think
name?
of his name.
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. Yeah, he's such a
Shithead
dick.
asshole. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that
and like
regard,
they don't
I mean,
really do that to her, you know?
Yeah, that's a perfect example where you want to see that. You want to hate that character so that you feel like your main character that you identify with is trapped. But unfortunately, because of the way they write Dante, because of the way fucking Brian O'Halloran acts him, you don't like him. So I end up at the end of this movie, I always end up feeling really bad for the Emma
Like,
character.
I hope you don't have anybody.
You should, yeah. She got screwed over.
That to me is like what makes these movies weird is that we like them because it's like, oh, these feel like real characters, but they're so often next to cartoon characters that with Jay and Silent Bob being cartoon characters is fine. But then when you get this woman, it's like, she's not real. Like there's no world in which someone would be like that. And like that kind of at oddsness is what I don't like about these, because if it was just about a bunch of real people talking like real people, I think that there'd be a lot more heart to it. Like I feel like we're prescribing heart that we want to see in some of these.
Yes, correct.
Randall goes back inside, at which point we're introduced to Elias. He is driven up and dropped off by his parents. They're all happy in the car singing. He kisses his mom on the lips. Randall sees all this, and so as soon as Elias enters the area, Randall starts bagging all over Elias about
Poor Elias. He seems like such a nice kid.
Totally right. He's a young, innocent 19-year-old that, Randall wants to grind into dirt.
He kind of looks like a Topher Grace.
Sure, I see that. I see that. This escalates into, we find out that Elias loves Transformers. His handle is Optimus Prime.
Totally forgot this part.
He's in a great setup for the new live action Transformers movie that's coming out.
So
Randall, of
they
course,
don't
just
know.
picks that all apart and screams about that and how Transformers are a slight on God. And he's like, no, at church Bible camp, they have a flow
like
chart that
Groot.
if God made humans and humans made Transformers, Transformers are a gift from God. It's like, all right, I see what you're doing. Yeah, whatever, doing that thing. They bag for a while there and just making fun of shit.
I really had wished this had been like the kid from Dogma that was like immaculately conceived.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, but there's no connection there.
Timing doesn't work up on that one. Yeah. And so eventually, I think this is it, right? Where Elias is like, Mr. Dante, and Dante opens it while he's shitting. He's like, Randall, leave him alone, and then makes eye contact with Scott Mosier and a child there. And he's just a shocked father, and he shuts the door real quick.
Don't look at his wee.
Yeah, don't look at his wee. Then Becky shows up. This is Rosario Dawson's character. She arrives while Dante's cleaning the window. He waves at her. She waves back. Randall immediately is like, "Why the fuck are you waving at her?" I liked this conversation. Like, she's gonna be here in front. Do you have to do this? Clearly, you like her. He's already setting up the fact that this is how it is, and that blah. And then I forget how this escalates from right there to there, but it's about going ask him. Oh no, it's because
he's like, "Why you like not going after these 17-year-old girls?"
Yeah, but is that
They're
so? He's
into
like
crazy things. They go ask the mouth.
Okay,
They ask for it.
We're gonna keep going.
No,
All right,
sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
exactly. So he's picking up high school girls, apparently, Randall, because now he's a pedophile on top of just being an asshole. And so yeah, they go ask him mouth. That's the thing. They start arguing. You never go ask him mouth, Randall. They go back and forth about it. Eventually, Becky comes in, and the first thing Randall's like, Becky, would you go ask him mouth somebody? She says no. You never go ask him mouth. They go back and forth for a while here and Randall's argument that if you're going down on somebody and then you kiss them afterwards, that's like going ass to mouth with somebody. She's like, did you just compare a vagina to an asshole? He's like, yeah. And she's like, all right, you get to go do whatever fucking job Elias usually does. And he's all angry about it, but she wins in the end because she's the boss. Yay. So Randall goes to go do that job. Dante and Becky immediately go to her office and start having the painting toenails conversation. That's way too intimate, I mean, clearly it is because they have a child and everything else. But
very inappropriate to do at work.
Also very inappropriate to do. Also very inappropriate to do something
You
you're
ask me
not.
to do your nails all the time.
It's different.
I want you to do Tim's nails in front of me while I watch.
You can always make it worse.
yeah, exactly.
My lot in life, guys. That's why Andy's the Randall.
We're here I guess because the conversation starts with, in general, here's the new forwarding address for where I'm going. This is my final day kind of thing. It's a little bit set up of like how Becky didn't want to be here either. She was only supposed to be here for a little bit while her father was getting chemo. He's out of the woods now. She wants to get out of here too. This couple of months turned into 2 years way too quickly. Dante's been here about a year. Then we start getting into immediately, Becky's dunking all over fucking Emma. I was just like, I'm sorry, was that Caddy? That was Caddy. And then they start doing it. That happens while they're doing the nails. This is all happening quickly, but this is where we start to establish that Dante's a pushover who fucking knew from the entire fucking first movie we watched. And Emma's pulling all the strings and doing all these things, and Becky doesn't really like her. It seems like there's a connection between Dante and Becky, and there is, and we'll investigate that later. Because on the outside, and just what a coincidence, Randall's working the counter, and Elias is like, one ring to rule them all. And then they get into a debate about how fucking Lord of the Rings sucks, which Randall's just fucking right on the money about. And what a fucking
right on the money, dude.
Right on the goddamn
Nails
money.
it. That sidestep in the second movie is so fucking funny.
Now hold on, everybody. I want you to be quiet. Andy's making a good point. Continue, Andy.
As the
Fuck,
movie
God,
just
he realized he
gets
was muted. Shit, I fucking loved it. I wanted you to keep going. You trash. I don't want to hear your point. So yeah, this whole conversation about how Lord of the Rings sucks or whatever. And then as fate would have it, another Lord of the Rings fan comes in. And I forget, what does he have on his... he checks him out and he's like, one ring to do them all, and one ring to fuck them all. And they say,
bind them.
this must be a fucking thing for
And
Lord
they
of the
both
Rings.
One
pull
ring to
out the
find them, one
rings.
ring to bring them all, and in darkness bind them, Greg. It's talking about the one ring bringing all the rings from around Middle Earth.
Day.
God. Andy, how come you don't have a ring?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a good question.
So it's revealed, Elias wears his ring. This guy has the ring in his pocket. They're all Ring fans. At which point, they started comparing how many times they've seen Return of the King. This gets Randall mad.
Why do Nick's legs look so
They're really small, right? They're really small.
You skipping leg day over there, Nick? You skipping leg day?
I am
No,
have
just
been skipping leg day.
Lengthwise.
I'm curled up in this chair.
Randall gets angry.
Your legs up. Let me see how big your legs look. Oh shit! Let me see the black socks you're wearing right now. Show us the calves.
I'm not wearing socks. I'm wearing socks.
Little swimmer's kick you just did.
There's only one return. It's of the Jedi, not of the King. Randall makes fun of the movies for walking. He does a reenactment in front of the register. Then he moves into let's make it homophobic, and he's like, it didn't end at the natural point, which was the natural point when Frodo's in bed and everybody comes in, and him and Sam should have fucked, and this escalates, and then the other guy calls him the F word, and then they are mad at each other, and I forget how we get out of it.
A little fact here: Randall's rant against Lord of the Rings trilogy was taken almost verbatim from Kevin Smith's diatribe against the movies in the London section of his An Evening with Kevin Smith 2, Evening Harder. In 2006. Many of Randall's lines are taken directly from what Smith said in the Q&A, including the line, and just before the credits roll, Sam bricks in Frodo's mouth.
Jesus Christ. That scene has a lot of sexual tension that doesn't get released.
So vivid.
Some of them, I forget how we get out of this argument, but we get out of this argument.
Right.
Fuck,
Vomits.
yeah. He totally vomits for no reason because he's just
It's
so
just
angry.
too much for him to
Robert.
handle, yeah. We've all been there.
But the next line is such a
Alright.
Kevin line where he goes, "I'm pissed off a guy so much about Lord of the Rings he vomited." Like it's just like I just at any moment picture Kevin like popping in the office like, "Guys, I was talking so much shit to Joey, he just threw up." Like,
I can see it happening.
Yeah, Randall pops in and says that Dante and Becky, who are quickly reset, so they aren't. He doesn't know that they're painting their nails. He goes to get the cleaning products that he didn't know existed, showing you how clean movies is. Finally, Dante and it might have already happened, but it's happening in the same thing. Dante and Becky kind of lay it on the line here, where she's like, "I just fuck ugly chuds on the prep station or whatever." They laugh, and then Dante's like, "Do you regret it?" And then we'll reveal that they have hooked up in the past, which you're not sure how long ago it was, but they hooked up in the past. And she's got this whole thing of like, I don't believe in marriage. I don't believe in traditional romantic love. I believe in just fucking as many people as you can and giving into your base instincts or whatever. You're like, all right, cool. Eventually Randall pops back in a couple times. They keep hiding it. And eventually when he does it on the last time, he tells Dante, his old lady's here. Dante gets up and goes outside. At this point, Dante goes
about our sponsors.
Okay.
Ooh.
This episode is brought to you by Me Undies. Summertime dreaming. There are these days when visions of sunshine and surf dance through our heads. Probably now more than ever, collectively, we mold into our couches. But we got to keep the dream alive. Me Undies is committed to the cause by keeping you in a constant stream of uninterrupted, dream-inducing undie comfort. I can definitely stand with this. Always wearing my MeUndies shirt, MeUndies lounge pants, MeUndies undies, MeUndies socks. They're keeping me covered head to toe. MeUndies bomber jackets, get on it, man. I'll definitely wear it. How do you reach this uninterrupted state of comfort, you ask? With a membership with MeUndies. And man, is it handy. Imagine this. Every month, the softest, coziest undies magically appear at your door. As your undie collection grows, your laundry time lessens, and adulting gets that much easier. All of this is very, very true. Plus, a membership comes with site-wide savings, early access, and free shipping, and 0 reasons to ever leave your house. Just grab those new undies off the porch and get right back onto that summertime dreaming, feeling so soft and so fresh and so clean. MeUndies has a great offer for you guys right now. Any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off and free shipping. You got to give this super softness a try, especially because they have 100% satisfaction guarantee. To get your 15% off your first order, free shipping with that guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Kev, Andy, Greg, you guys wearing some undies right now? Nick?
Know it.
I don't know about you.
No, I'm having a horrible day.
It's a little warm in my apartment, so I'm not going to tell you what I'm wearing. But
I've
I'll
got
be
the
honest
camo ones.
There's nothing
Camo?
underneath these shorts, Tim.
No, stop, Nick.
Great. Well, there
Stop.
could be, Nick. You can go to meundies.com/morning. That's meundies.com/morning.
When I do wear undies, though, I'll look into it.
Worth pointing out, I was able to find a Business Insider article that had them cracking at McDonald's cracking eggs into the things, but I don't fucking believe it for a second.
Fuck
all right?
no, that's too much effort,
Alright,
man. They've
alright.
automized. They don't even use cows anymore. They have synthetic cows that have their own little.
I'm a cow. Here's an egg.
metal
Boop, boop,
anus
boop.
that shits
out
out
of their
beef.
Jesus, Nick.
Wow.
Beef anus.
This is where Randall is over on
God,
movie internet
just-
terminal.
When you say
Beef-
Nick, but you would love it. You
Beef
secretly
ass.
love it.
What is that? What was that? I'm sorry, Greg.
Fine. Randall's over there looking at kinkykelly.com. He's going to get a donkey show for Dante's going away party tonight.
Here's the thing. Earlier, you were saying that like it's weird that he's going into bestiality stuff, right? But I feel like that's the natural evolution of someone who's just watching porn for fun all day. Like it just keeps
Nick,
getting worse.
would you like to
Yeah,
take this one?
100%. Remember that time we walked? I won't bring it into. But
Listen, you guys, you got.
Sometimes you have to-
Your appetites widen. Let's just put it that way. We'll just put it that way. Your
You
horizons
don't have to put
broaden.
it anyway.
he's
the
just
more you
being
watch
Andy. He's
porn.
just being honest with you. All right, and like
just
that's
honest.
important that he's honest with someone.
If you like watching consenting adults and consenting animals have sex with
No.
each
No,
other,
we're going to stop you right there and cut you off and get back to it. Elias comes over while he's doing this and starts freaking out. And he's like, don't ruin this for me. This is, something we've dreamed about seeing, Tijuana, all this jazz. So I'm going to book it. I need your cell phone. It's for emergencies. I'm going to use this thing, blah, blah. I forget how he sells it. He's some way to go around to try to sell it to him in Transformers or Jesus. I can't remember, but he does enough, whatever. Outside, Emma's back at the movies, and she's got a whole bunch of crap in her trunk. I forget why we're doing this, but eventually Becky walks out, and she's like, "Hey, we just got these printed. I wanted you to have them. It's a wedding invitation. We're gonna do it in 3 months or 3 weeks, something like that. Once we're down there." Dante's like, "Wait, I thought we were gonna wait till we pick a date down there." And Emma's like, "Man, if we left it up to them, nothing would get done." And it's 100% accurate about Dante. Like it would never
Yeah,
get done if you were.
Not a chance
But
in hell.
Dante doesn't know what he's doing, and even it said as much in there, right? Of he likes the idea of marriage and yada yada yada. Like, what the fuck's going on? Who the fuck knows? She goes back in, all sad like. He stays in movies. This is when they go back in, and Jason Lee shows up in full "My Name Is Earl" garb, once again reminding you of oh yeah, "My Name Is Earl" was filming at this time. Oh, Ethan Suplee was on that show too. Oh, okay.
It's a good show.
Never watched it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You'd like it.
Yeah.
No space in it whatsoever.
All right, checks my box. Every time I see that Space Force on Netflix, I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
It's really
Pushing your
good.
fucking
Very
stuff.
little
Yeah,
space
I don't
in it.
want Okay, good.
A lot of space
Jason Lee
talk.
comes in. He
Just
talks
so-
all sorts of shit.
Such an aggressive reaction to that. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm just saying, I don't have time for it, all right? Keep it on my planet, my time. You know what I mean? Or my
Okay,
past. Or
that's
my
true.
near future, but not space future.
You're not
All
gonna
right?
have a hard
Future.
time.
Simple request. Simple request I want for the program.
Keep going, Greg.
Jason Lee shows up. He's in a pop collar. He looks weird because he's "My Name Is Earl," but he's also this supposed to be preppy guy. He's there, and he knows them from high school, and Randall doesn't take it well, immediately starts calling him pickle fucker.
Why did his voice just change? Why is his voice why does it sound like he's been smoking for 30 years straight in the last 10 years?
Yeah, I think he was doing a character. It's called acting, you know?
It just sounded like, because there's that one season where Daryl in The Office, where the actor, what's his name?
Craig
Robinson, where Craig Robinson was going through some drug stuff, and it changed his voice.
Oh.
And so, in season 4, you can hear him his voice is super gravelly, and it seemed
Smoking a
like
lot of
here, no other stuff. I think
Smoking a lot of heroin.
I don't know.
Andy, you
Some,
shouldn't make things up about him. I don't know why you're coming on this
it's
podcast
true.
talking about him doing heroin.
This is true, but anyway,
I
Jason Lee's
can't deal
voice.
with another defamation suit from you, Andy. All right.
Jason Lee's voice just sounds like really weird and different. I don't like it. I like when he used to be the Ryan Reynolds guy.
The Ryan Reynolds guy.
His voice is always very high pitched and shit. Yeah, exactly. And then that's how he sounds now. There used to be
Now
a
you
school.
You're looking into this, Greg.
What do you think
What I
Nick's
have
looking
is a
at?
2013 article. Office star Craig Robinson pleads guilty in Bahamas drug case.
Oh shit!
That's cool. That's so fucking cool. That sounds so cool.
No, like dude, I straight up Googled Craig
When
Robinson's
custody agents
voice
found
season whatever.
When a small amount of marijuana and pills that they deemed suspicious, he was trying to board a plane as he headed to the United States.
Wait a minute. Can you take marijuana in pill form to get yourself?
Oh, yeah.
high?
It was two
All right,
different
check it
kinds
out. Check it out. What's the deal? This is on Reddit. What's the deal with Craig Robinson's voice in season 5? It says around August 2008, Craig Robinson had some troubles with some drugs and drug charges. Season 5 aired first in September that year. This is all a lot of speculation.
Here, no, let's connect the dots. People.com, August 15th, 2008.
Okay.
The office's Craig Robinson charged with felony drug possession. Craig Robinson of The Office and Pineapple Express has been charged with possession of drugs, including ecstasy and methamphetamine. Meth. I can't get it. Authorities confirm. Robinson, 36, plays warehouse supervisor Daryl Philbin. And officers discovered drugs in his car and also found Robinson to be under the influence of amphetamines. That's, if you didn't know, that's like a reptile.
No.
It's the drugs that breathe underwater.
Yeah, that's right.
They're cold-blooded.
Cannabinoids, according to felony complaint filed with us. I can confirm, he's just 2 felonies, possession of a controlled substance, misdemeanor DUI.
So I'm saying Jason Lee. Let's keep all options on
Let's
the
look
table.
into it.
All right,
Yeah.
well, Andy, go find this subreddit thread about Jason Lee's voice for and then quote it as Bible truth on this show. We're all going to jail. Anyways, Jason Lee's there. He's pickle fucker, which means that he's making fun of them for working, working at the stores, and then now working here, just being clerks. They make fun of him for in high school the seniors did horrible things to the freshmen. For him, it was that he had to walk with a pickle up his ass, and if it fell out, you had to take a bite of it, put it back up there, and keep walking. He did it like 4 times or whatever. Fucking disgusting.
Yeah, that's
he tells a
horrible.
lie. Tells a lie. This story.
I get it done in 2.
Nick, you'd be able to put it in the right without any bites.
Put it in my
See,
cubby
that's
hole.
the thing. Is like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it needs to be an extra life goal, but I would be interested in how far I could get with pickle at night.
I think
You know
you
what I
keep
mean?
in your little kangaroo pouch for a while.
Jesus Christ.
Clearly, it's a challenge, and am I up to it for the big beautiful kids?
Andy,
I think I am.
can we make a
if we add in
shirt?
Fran hiding in the bushes, I think you got yourself a really good extra life goal.
What? At the same time?
Yeah, just we combine the 2. Fran gets in the ghillie suit. He goes and hides.
Oh,
And then
man, we
never
forget
go
about
and
him.
get him.
What happens first?
This
Doug
is
makes
so
it to the
mean.
finish line, or we find Fran.
Find Fran.
What a
Anyways,
weird
that's all that
episode.
stuff. Nobody else
true.
remembers that shit but you. Yada yada yada. He orders a soda and a burger. Randall's like, coming right up. Then it's a bunch of quick shots of him going and getting this urinal ice into the cup, and then filling with Diet Coke.
Fucking
Then making a
horrifying.
burger and taking flies off of the fly trap and putting it in the thing, the burger, and shutting it. And he's like, here you go. And Jason Lee takes it. Thanks, man. And then they keep talking to John at each other, and Jay shows up and he's like, hey, can I order my fucking cow tipper? I gotta get my cow tipper on. And
He calls him a pickle fucker too right away.
yeah, well, no, Jason Lee's like, yeah, here, you can take mine. Thanks, pickle fucker.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not really hungry. And so Jay runs out with it, and he's like, I don't actually eat fast food. I just wanted to come in here and see you fucking losers. Oh, I left out the part where he's a bajillionaire. He sold the company to Amazon. Elias gets his card for his Transformer site he wants to make, or whatever the fuck's going on. Jason Lee leaves. Randall, super just pissed off now. This guy, just because somebody told him called it like it is. Like, what the fuck are you doing with your life, you idiot? You fucking weirdo.
Well, the guy did specifically come to bully him, so the guy's kind of an asshole too.
But I mean, again, this goes back to what me and Nick were talking about at the front. I can't feel sympathy for these characters.
Nor should you.
They're not good people. Like, why would I care? Like, yeah, you are a bunch of pieces of shit. He's like, I need the keys to your car, and rather than just say I need, that means drive me. So Dante's like, oh, okay, we gotta go, of course. So he yells at Elias to tell Becky that they gotta run and do an errand or whatever. They drive out. As they drive out, Jay and Bob are eating the food, and Bob's drinking the soda, looking all sour. Jay's eating the burger, and he's like, yo, this burger tastes like flies. And does it taste like flies and piss?
Yeah, this drink. Does it taste like piss and flies? It was a great
my favorite line.
Yeah.
That's like the most I probably laughed in the movie.
Just because you didn't expect him to nail what it was.
I just love like how on the nose it's so stupid.
Yeah.
So they go to blow off steam at a go-kart track named Skid Marks. They drive around, horsing around, being a bunch of clowns, having fun, smiling and laughing.
You know what I hate? You know what I hate? I mean, it's such a dumb critique of this little part. But when they get to the go-karts and they're about to start going, Brian O'Halloran looks at fucking what's his face, Randall, and goes, "You sure you want to do this?" It's like, you're just fucking go-karting. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're not about to leave the country.
You're not trying to kill
and move to France or something. Like,
but it's one of those things where he's having a bad day, and if he loses at go-karting, it might really even be worse. It's like how whenever we play Fortnite, and I'm better than you, and you get all sad about it.
Oh, you hate that, Andy.
He's so much better than you too. It's
exactly.
It's difficult to watch, Andy.
They go kart. They get in the car and drive back to work. Dante's like, I don't understand why, I drive you everywhere and you like this thing. And well, it's like, what's going on? And it starts getting too real where, like, what do you like about it? He's like, it's just, why is go-karting your go-to when something goes wrong? And he's like, it takes me back to a happier time, a simpler time kind of thing. Like when I was happy or whatever. And Dante investigates a bit more. He's like, what the fuck do you care? Like, you're moving tomorrow anyway. You're leaving me. And it's like awkward silence. They just drive back to movies. They get out and come into movies, and it's anarchy. It's just Elias and Becky running it. There's a huge fucking line. Becky's like, thanks, guys. And they're like, we're into work mode. Let's fucking do it. And so they run back there. And Randall, you think you're going to turn this corner here, and Randall's going to, like, show that he's, like, great, and he loves his job. And doesn't love his job, but he's good at it. And I guess he is, because he pulls up the front and says, what the fuck you doing? You almost burned the place down. The machine does all the work. Like, this is funny or whatever. Dante's in there. They start going. And we're like, all right, cool. We're doing this. We're getting into the groove here where we're going to go. And then for no fucking reason, the wheel is jerked into this racial tirade thing.
Yeah.
Wanda Sykes, famous comedian, and her husband in the movie are there. They are both black. They're there, and they're referencing all the stupid, horrible things they are saying of like cock stain. What's a cock stain? And like the husband's trying to justify it. I did like you want to go home, find out what a cock stain is? Like, they're having a playful relationship. And then, I forget the exact setup, though. Randall comes out and uses a racial slur, PM, right there. And it's like, obviously everything stops. Obviously the movie's pointing out this is not okay. Dante's like, what the fuck? Rosario Dawson's like, what the fuck? He's like, what the fuck? He's like, I know I did not just hear him say that. And he continues to double down saying it and not understanding there's something wrong with what he says. And finally they're like, what are you fucking doing? Like, are you crazy? I think that this is when he's like, what are you doing? You're crazy? Like, that's a racial slur. He's like, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. It's a racial slur for black people. And he's like, no, it's not. And then he starts going down the list of what are confirmed to him racial slurs for black people. As everybody panics, they try to give Wanda Sykes her food. She's like, I will not take food from this bigot. And her husband's like, I will. And they have a fun back and forth about, no, we won't. And he keeps trying to take it, and then she takes it and throws it on the ground. He's like, damn. And he walks out. And then we're into Becky and Dante just screaming at Randall about this, and you're like, where are we going with this? What are we going to do? It's revealed that his grandmother called him this slur all the time, and so he doesn't think of it as a slur. He thinks of it as a pet name. And then maybe Becky's already left and is mad and is like, you're lucky I'm not going to fire you for this. But it's more Dante and Randall going back and forth about this, to which point we start bringing in Jewish slurs to this thing that he's like, my grandma wasn't racist. She called me this and did this thing and said she's going to put this curse on me, which is I know we've learned the hard way many a time. I am just too far removed from what the fuck every horrible racist goddamn word is. I've never heard of this curse he's talking about.
Neither have I, but
they go down but they keep going with it or whatever. And it's finally gets to this point where Randall goes, oh, come to think of it, maybe she was kind of racist. And I feel like if they could have stopped there or hit this point harder, it would have been maybe not funny, but it would have been like, oh, okay, we've come to where they realize something's wrong, blah, 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 blah. Instead, I guess motivated by the conversation, literally the lines right before this from Randall, where like, I'm going to make my mark on the world. Randall gets on the other side of this conversation and says he's going to take it back. And it is like, what the fuck is this doing in the movie? Like, it doesn't play. We've given a lot of, it's a product of its time, especially in the words they're throwing around for gay or, retarded or all these different things they're throwing out. And you're like, okay, well, in the 90s, in this, like, this is 2006. And this is still a taboo conversation then. Again, and this is, I again, like my hardcore, I'm crazy about Kevin Smith fandom I think ended with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Obviously, I still watch the movies. I still pay attention, but I'm not like listening to every evening with Kevin Smith or the Smodcast or anything else. My assumption here is, like I was said earlier, of like, this is the example of it's Clerks. What does Clerks need to be? I think you see it. There needs to be some black and white stuff. There needs to be Dante and Randall. We need to be on the roof of the movies for some reason at some point. We need to be shocking. We need to have shock value in it. And I assume that's what this was, but it didn't work for me then, and it doesn't work for me now.
Because again, who this works for ever.
Yeah,
like, I don't. Thing is, like, was this ever funny to people? Because it just seems like it's shocking, sure, but it's also like I feel like it's as shocking now as it was then, in the sense of like, yeah, this is bad. You shouldn't be saying this.
And that's my thing is I feel like it would have been not okay. I don't know. I'm talking in hyperbole. I think there would have been a stronger case for it if we get to the end of this and Randall realizes, holy shit, my grandma was the racist. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize it at all. She was calling me all these slurs, and I didn't know. That's
crazy. The problem. These movies aren't about teaching the characters things.
Sure.
And like, then it just becomes this a bunch of shit like this, where it's just like, you can pick it apart and try to find the moral at the end of the story, but it's not there. Like that.
I mean, specifically because there's no resolution with this, right? He just goes the rest of the movie with PM in tape on his shirt or on his thing. And you're like, what the fuck was the point of doubling down on this?
It seems like they use it as to piss off the cops so that there's less questions asked and they're arrested right away for the bestiality stuff.
Yeah, the multiple jobbings of N-words, and I think the point that they were doing is like when we talk about how white supremacists took the OK hand symbol. And or like Pepe the Frog and all that, and they made it sort of symbols for that. And I've often said, like, no, we got to take that shit back. And I think that's what they were doing here. But it's just rough, man. Like, I felt like my body was like, oh, this fucking sucks watching. I hate all this, dude.
Taking back a symbol that used to mean something positive, like the OK symbol, and has been corrupted, is different than trying to take back something that was never good to begin with.
Oh, sure, but Randall, I don't think ever knew that it was never good to begin with.
Yeah, like, but it's that this is where we get into the question of like when you have a scene like this happen, like this is what is the point of the scene, and is the author trying to say through this character? And if he's not going to learn anything, then the point of the scene was just to have the shock value of some racial slurs being thrown around. And to her credit, Wanda Sykes is fucking brilliant in the scene, as she always is hilarious in all these scenes. But at the end of it, you're just like, wow, this just put a nail in a coffin for me that this Randall character is just so far gone. I don't give a fuck what happens to him anymore. I don't want to be a part of his world anymore. And also,
and the worst thing, like taking it a step further, I'm sure that this movie taught a lot of people that word.
Maybe it's possible. But the other issue I have with this scene is that as a owner or a manager of a business, Rosario Dawson goes, "What are you doing? Get back into the kitchen and cook." Instead of what would happen in real life,
fuck out of here,
would be like, you're so fucking fired. You're gone. There's no way I can't have this person around. I don't give a shit if the guy I'm in love with, you're his best friend. Like, this is a huge liability. You are treating people completely inappropriately. And it's not, also, there's no, I don't know. There's just, there's no value to this at all.
After he's like being corrected by everyone, being like, no, you can't say this, he continues to say it and be like, it's fine, and writes it on the back of his jacket. It's like there's totally, again, these aren't characters that grow in any way that matters. You know, these are bad people.
And it's unfortunate because you want to find some likability in these characters and you want to identify with them in some degree, but like neither of them have any redeemable qualities.
That's the problem too, is like saying this, like they're bad people, they're supposed to be bad people. This movie's also supposed to be funny. Like, we're supposed to be laughing at them being bad people. And like, that's the problem here, is when there's no message and it's not funny because it's really like cringy. It's like, that's a huge problem when so much of the focus of this movie and so much of Randall's character arc is based on this.
Back to it. That's the resolution. Yes, as we've said. Becky and Dante start talking again. This is where she's like, "Don't you have any like problems getting married? Any jitters or whatever?" Or any? And she's like, "Well, I have jitters or whatever." But it's not even really about her. It's more the fact that like I can't dance. I don't know how to dance. Everybody's gonna look at my wedding and see me, this fucking chud. I don't know chud is an insult, but I love the usage of it, and I'm sorry if it's a terrible word as well. I
think it's from a movie, right? It's
Chud is just like fucking loser meathead weirdo, like, you know.
No, it stands for something. It's like creatures under.
Yeah, it was like a trauma movie. One of those like It's like Swamp Thing sort of things.
They're like ugly little monsters.
Okay. So yeah, you can't dance. That's crazy. I'll teach you how to dance. And so they're gonna go up on the roof and dance. And so they go up there, and she yells down to Jay and Silent Bob to play some music. They play that song they were playing earlier. This is something we skip. But when Randall was fucking with Elias, and like he was clearly a Jesus freak or whatever, he started singing whatever hair metal or whatever death metal, I don't even know, song that was about it. And Jay crawled through the window and kept singing with him. I thought it was pretty funny. They play that song, the actual song of it. And then she's like, no, something with you. They start playing Jackson 5 ABC, a great song from Rock Band Unplugged. Nobody ever heard the music.
Also, probably where $1 million of their $5 million budget went.
Sure. So they're up there dancing now. There's a dance there's like a dance troupe now that pops up down on the thing for like a nice musical number, which is fun enough and weird in this again world with no rules, and it's a cartoon. But then again, so hard, this thing that's like an actual, I think, endearing moment and like sweet thing up there, like mashed up with what we just saw with Randall and these racial slurs, and that's what he's gonna do. Doesn't matter.
Again, I hate to lament on this, but it's this wonderful moment where we've got Rosario Dawson with her amazing smile dancing in slow-mo to this great song, and she's moving and it's great, and then it cuts over to creepy McCreeperton just leering at her with this weird cocked head, and I'm like, oh,
he's trying his best to look cute, you know.
it's not working. It's just not working.
But like that's the actor they have. We have to just try our best not to focus.
I know,
on that.
But I want to save Rosario Dawson from this scene so badly. I can't imagine she was watching this during the premiere and going, "Yeah, this works. This really works." Like, fuck, there goes my career. My career is done. Even Kevin doesn't like it. He's wheeling away.
Say that. She didn't say
that. So yeah, they're up there dancing. You know, eventually he can't dance. She starts dancing like you're saying. Yeah. She eventually pulls him up then to start seeing what they learn. They're really close. They're having that connection. He dips her. And that's when he goes, I love you, Becky, I love you. And she goes, I'm pregnant. And he drops her. And he goes, oh, after he realized that he has the very selfish, as usual, Dante moment of dealing with that. And then realizing he just dropped the woman who said she was pregnant. From there, I don't think we get much of their conversation, right? Instead, Jay and Silent Bob are out back. Jay's trying to pee. Randall and Dante burst through the door. The door hits Jay, knocks him down. Dante's like, I tell you something, you can't tell anybody, blah, 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 blah. And Randall's being an asshole, but he's his only friend there. And he's like, yeah,
Wait, sorry, really quick. Did we miss the naked Buffalo Bill music scene?
Yeah, we did. That was way earlier in the movie. You're right. Yeah.
That's when his wife comes, or fiance, right? It's a good
Sounds
scene.
right.
Yeah.
It's
that and the eat pussy thing, and then she looks at him and he's like, yeah, we totally do.
Oh, we totally do.
Yeah.
The best part of every movie they're in, for sure, except for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They were the worst part.
So yeah, they knock Jay down, and then he reveals that Becky's pregnant. I like this exchange too, where Randall just doesn't get it. I'm just like, he doesn't understand why this would matter to Dante or whatever. Then it's this big reveal that no, he's the father. He's like, oh shit, whatever. Becky runs. He's like, don't tell anybody, obviously. Becky runs out. The door hits Jay again. As soon as she gets there, there's like this awkward thing between Randall and Dante. And then Randall's like, just blurts out, may your first child be masculine or something. She's like, thanks a lot. She leaves. Dante's pissed. He goes to swing on Randall, and Randall just moves to the side, and Dante hits his hand on the fucking order board. Randall's like, you swung on me? He's like, you fucking gave it away, blah, blah, blah. They argue for a while. You'd think then, yeah, he chases Becky to the front door into the parking lot. She leaves. Randall comes out, and rather than be upset about this and just be a good friend and say to chase her, he sees that Kinky Kelly has showed up and is pulling into the thing, and he's like, get in your car and go. Just chase her for an hour, just be back in an hour. Go chase her for an hour. And he's like, got it. He drives out and just can't fucking find her. So he just drives around for a fucking hour. This is when, Randall goes over to talk to what you'd think would be the handler of, like the manager of Kinky Kelly and this donkey. They ask some questions there about what's going on. Where are you going to do it? We're going to do it in the restaurant. He's like, you fucking serious? He's like, yeah. Is it not spacious enough? He's like, no, it's plenty spacious. Just odd, don't you think? And then he's like, something about bestiality. He's like, it's animal erotica, right? Or something, live animal erotica. Then we get this montage of everyone like, oh, I gotta fucking think through my life, man. And it's Dante driving. He's like, I gotta think about my life, man. And Randall's sitting there. I gotta think about my life, man. I think Emma's there making a cake. I gotta make this cake, man. Becky, I don't even remember if she's in it. She's around there.
Is this when Dante waves at the kid?
Yeah, Dante. This is, you want to talk about creeper. Jen's like, what is this creep doing? And like, there's a faint stoplight. I'm like, it's framed weird. I think he's at a stoplight outside of the restaurant. It looks like he's just creeping on this fucking restaurant. Of course, the kid is his daughter, Harley.
Less to do with the blocking of the scene and more to do with his eyes. The creepiest eyes in Hollywood.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
Hold on. We've talked too much about McDonald's. I'm ordering McDonald's.
Get it done, Greg.
I'm doing it, baby. Eventually,
I'm thinking about my life, man. That's the new McDonald's slogan.
So yeah, Dante returns to the movies, which is now filled with smoke. We obviously, the handler had already said, "Oh yeah, it's for atmosphere." Or whatever. And I left out one of my favorite little moments there as a callback to the Easter eggs they put in for Askew fans. When Randall is sitting there thinking about his life, man, they do the pan around of the guy building the stage for Kinky Kelly, and he's got that stupid crossbeam from Mallrats.
That's I never notice it. Like, I love that it's in so many movies. That's funny as hell.
Anyways, Dante returns to movies, sees it, and he goes, "Oh, not again!" And he calls the fire department. I want to report a robbery in movies on whatever the streets are on. He goes in there though, and it's very quickly revealed it is not smoke. It is in fact a smoke machine. There's no fire. They're getting ready for this thing. Randall grabs him. He's like, "We're going to do something we've talked about since we saw Bachelor Party in the 8th grade or whatever it is." Elias is wasted. You assume off one beer. Jay and Bob he's wasted off of weed. Jay and Bob are there. They gave him 2 blunts or whatever, and he's
wasted off of weed.
Yeah, he's wasted off. I don't know how drugs work, Kev.
Yeah,
right?
No, that's true.
Ibuprofen or Claritin. I don't understand how it works. Or chemotherapy. I understand that drug. Then so they all sit down and watch what's happening, and he's like, "What's going on?" And Dante puts it together when he's like, "Oh, whatever they say about straight from Tijuana." Oh yeah, because Randall's doing it. He says bestiality, and they're like, "No, it's
Fuck
yeah, you fucko, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's animal erotica or whatever. Interspecies animal erotica. Thank you. Or just interspecies erotica. Is that what it was? Thank you. And it's cans. Can. You can, Nick. You can't do it. Because I can't. So then this show starts and they all start getting into it. All right, cool. And then the guy comes out. Does he have a name? Am I fucking this up? Kelly's
He's the stud.
The mule, right? He's the hot stud or whatever. Yeah, all right. He comes out and Randall keeps being like, "Don't worry, there's a chick coming. There's a chick coming." And then it becomes clear there's not a chick coming. And
I thought the guy's name was Kelly.
I thought it was the other one.
The guy's name is Kelly because he goes, "And that's the stud," and because it was a boy horse. Remember, because the girl.
No, he goes Kelly. No. He goes Kelly could be either or name or whatever.
Yeah,
because he's a guy named Kelly.
No, he's
referring to
stud.
the horse.
Kelly is the horse.
Remember, because they talk about how big the horse's dick is.
Yeah, Kelly can be a boy or a girl's name.
Fucking the horse. The stud was supposed to be the horse.
Okay, we can settle it. The guy is listed as sexy stud on IMDb.
Okay, I apologize.
You fucking should, Nick. Put on the Iron Man helmet for
go fuck a horse.
1 minute.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that escalated, Tim. You're ready for extra life too.
Good God.
They start getting into their sex acts here, and they're all watching horrified. Everybody's like this. Like Elias is into it though. He tells Jay he's got such a big boner. While this is happening, Becky arrives and walks in, and
at the exact moment that what's his face kisses the lady.
No, that's Emma. We're not there yet.
Oh,
Becky
I see what you're saying. You're right. You got it. I just realized right there. I have no idea that her name was Becky.
Yeah. Well, you've only been doing this interview for how long? Nick, you can take off the helmet.
First time she's in this movie, man.
Your helmet is up. I will need you to mail the helmet to Andy, though. He's going to have a minute soon. Then, Dante and her start talking about, like, what the fuck's going on? But also like, Becky, I'm so sorry, you know, like, oh, and I love you. And she's like, well, I don't what. And then she's like, wait, is that guy blowing a donkey? And like, there's a whole thing there. And it is a funny thing. I liked her reaction to all this, where she's like trying to have the serious conversation, notice it. She's like, I gotta go see this. She goes over to it or whatever. Dante and her watch. I think this might be when he starts having sex with it, like not blowing it, but actually having sex with it.
Yeah. There's the Elijah line of like, if he's gonna jerk off, I'm gonna jerk off. And they're like, I don't think he's gonna jerk off.
Yeah. And she's like, I do. And Dante's like, what? And she's like, I do love you. And like, oh my God, you love me. Oh my God, we sorted our love. They start making out. Yeah, and this is what you were saying, Kevin. This is when Emma shows up with the cake. She's like, Dante? And again, like back to our point of like, man, what a fucking harsh lesson for this poor woman. Yeah. You know what I mean? Dante? And he's like, Emma. And he's like, I'm sorry. And then, yeah, Jay walks in and he's like, oh man, congratulations on the baby. And she's like, what are you talking about? I thought you're pregnant. No. And then Dante and Becky are like, why we could have just ignored that from Jay and you would have been fine. They don't though. She yells at him or something. No, she knees him in the balls, and then Jay is immediately like, hit him in the face with the fucking cake. She hits him with the cake. I'm like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. At this point, Emma runs away. She takes off the ring and flicks at Becky, and he's like, you can have him, you fucking whore. And again, you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, Emma. Fuck these people. She leaves. I want to say Dante gives chase. As she leaves, the cops show up. This is when back inside it's pandemonium. Jay's like, we're fucking holding. I'm not going back to rehab or whatever. The sexy stud's like, oh no, cops, I gotta finish fast.
God.
Real talk, like we were talking about the shock humor and all this stuff in this movie. Once the smoke starts in the thing and then they call the cops, from that to this moment, this movie's really funny to me. Like it's shocking for the sake of being shocking, but it is shocking and it is funny, and the characters act in a way that is believable to me. The lines they have are funny. All the Elias stuff is funny, and like you have that gut feeling of like, every time a new character walks in, you're like, oh no, how are they going to react to this? And I think that they react how they should react. Yeah,
they do a great job of setting it up in this world of like, this is fucking wrong, but I have to watch. Like, I can't look away, right? It's like that Family Guy, right? Where I gotta keep giving money to this kid or whatever. I can't. I forget. I fucked up their own ref. Oh, I gotta keep hitting golf balls at this kid, right? Like when Chris is driving around, like went off. I'm sorry. Anyways, cops arrive. Yeah, as you said, I forget what it is. When they all come outside or when they all come inside, they see Randall's shirt, or he says it again or whatever.
No, they see his shirt and they're like, "What the fuck?" And
so yeah, we then cut to the jail where they're all in the jail cell. Randall's fucking around the doors. Dante's sitting there. Jay climbs it like a steel cage match. The sexy stud's there, and he's like, listen, it's going to be fine. You guys are going to walk. I'm going to get a thing for animal cruelty. It's no big deal because people don't understand interspecies erotica. Again, back to like, you know, the things that shine through. I do love they're sitting there in this like horrible moment. All this shit's happened, and Randall's just like, jail cells really haven't evolved in the past century. I'm like, that's a great point. Then Dante immediately lays into him for him ruining his life once again. Oh, you know, how, you know, you're walking calamity, you destroy. I was going to be in Florida tomorrow and this new life. And Randall, as usual, calls him on his bullshit again. And it's just like, yeah, I'm the one who knocked up your boss. All right. And when you had everything set to go, I'm the one who did all this shit, blah, blah, blah. It's, again, very similar to the Clerks scene we saw at the end of Clerks 1. They do push each other around a little bit, right? That's when Jay yells steel cage match. Things keep escalating. Eventually Jay turns to Bob and he's like, what, you always got something to say, wise to say here? And Bob's like, I got nothing. I like that. Because for once they have to kind of deal with their own problems.
Yeah.
Eventually though, yeah, like Randall's like, you're really gonna make me say this. You guys cover your ears, sure. I love you, man. You're my best friend. I love you, man. Yeah, in a totally heterosexual way, because we have to make that clear, of course. You know what I mean? Like, all right. And so that, you know, I don't leave. I love you. Like, let's hang out. Let's do this. Oh, this is the whole thing. Like, what would you have done with your perfect life? He's like, I would have bought the Quick Stop. I would have reopened the Quick Stop. You know, it cost $50,000 at least. We don't have the kind of money. Jay and Bob are like, we do. use some likeness rights and the rest from their Blunt Man and Chronic days. They'll lend it on 2 conditions. Number 1, Jay and Bob are allowed to hang out outside as long as they want. Nobody's going to call the cops. And number 2, you have to blow each other and we get to watch. And Bob's like, he's like, all right, just number 1. They agree. And then we're into a montage of them taking over the Quick Stop, right? Going in there, tearing out all the stuff, repainting the walls, getting it all set up, reopening the thing. It's, Rosario Dawson's there. She's pregnant. Jay and Bob are there. Elias is there. Elias gets hired to work at RST Video.
At first, though, I love that where he's like, no.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right. He's like, you bring it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay's wearing a shirt that says Justice TLF, which stands for True Love Forever.
Oh, nice.
Shannon Elizabeth's character.
Yeah, no, I understood the justice part, but I could not make out what that was. I didn't understand.
Because it's like a weird. It looks like it says TF at first, but there's an L in there somewhere.
Yeah, okay, all right. I see what
like a cool Andy would do on a cool shirt.
And so they reopen
Nick like meat eater.
Genius.
They reopen Quick Stop. They come in. Walt Flanagan makes his appearance in the movie to buy a pack of cigarettes. And then this is the first day. This is the first day of the rest of our lives or whatever. And everything fades as black and white, and they slowly pan out as like Dante and Randall kind of look at each other like, this is a weird thing. Is this really what we wanted, kind of thing, or whatever? And then it's credits. And at the end, this one is Jay and Silent Bob will return whenever they're ready or something like that. They're tired or something like that. And that's Clerks 2.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. I'm off. Sorry. Haiku in review.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I got off of my snap. I couldn't snap fast enough.
Can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny to write your reviews in haiku form, just like Brian Smith did. Brian Smith says Randall nailed rings. Bex and Emma, things go bad. Dante is a dad.
Hey,
that's a scary thing to think about. Then Bumbleboy Wonder says Scarpino is Jay, Echo Clo is Elias, Greg is Pillow Pants.
Oh yeah, we didn't get into that Pillow Pants stuff. We mentioned it earlier on. I did laugh out loud again at that.
Yeah, it's very funny.
For once, like Randall having this moment of like, I'm not gonna fuck with you because you think this is real and this is so fucked up.
Yeah.
You know who else could play Randall? I said already Tim Schafer for
Dante.
For Dante. Who could play Randall? Jeff Ramsey, I think, could play Randall.
Yeah.
Shit. Yes.
Like the vocal inflections, kind of the way they talk, they sort of remind me of the same person. Yeah.
Jeff Ramsey would be a good Andre the Giant too if they ever do a biopic of that.
Yeah. See the similarities.
And then John Lestrina says, "We thought we were done. We struggled through and survived. Transformers are back." Let's do a little Ragu Bagu.
Ragu. Bagu.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, the podcast within a podcast where we rank all the Askewniverse verse villains in one giant list. Right now for Volume 9, the list stands at this. Number 1, the trio from Dogma. Number 2, Holden and his male insecurity. Number 3, Shannon/Michael Rooker. Number 4, Dante, his own worst enemy. And number 5, N.A. because there was no villain in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I feel like, again, I hate to keep saying it, but like Dante is his own worst enemy in this. Like he's making all the
I feel
wrong
like Randall
choices.
gets some points in this one for
Dante
being
and
a bad
Randall,
person.
Yeah, I'll say Randall and Dante on this one for sure.
Where do you want to put them?
Number 1. They're really
number 1 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
I mean, one of them's a vicious racist, so yeah, we gotta kind of put him at number 1.
All right.
Number 1, Randall and Dante from Clerks 2.
There you go. Now it's time to rank the Askewniverse. Number 1, currently, Dogma. Number 2, Chasing Amy. Number 3, Clerks. Number 4, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And number 5, Mallrats. I'll put this right under Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, above Mallrats.
I put it below Mallrats. I think that this is a worse film for Mallrats. I think, and I know it's all personal preference. Don't get me wrong, but like this is. I think honestly, especially having just watched this one, and not since 2006, I probably couldn't have told you back, in that time period of 14 years not watching it. Like granted, we already covered that I love Kevin Smith movies and I love the first ones we've done. So like I would watch those infinitely more times, including Jay and Silent Bob, which I don't think is a high for the Askewniverse. This one, I just feel like we've said, and I know we've talked it to death. Like it just isn't an enjoyable movie. I don't enjoy these characters. I didn't enjoy where they take them. I don't enjoy the way they evolve. And I think it would have been a much stronger movie to have them take over the quick stop at the end of the first act and see what goes on with that rather than do this.
I would probably have Mallrats above this had I watched the theatrical cut. But
yeah, good point.
Only watched the extended cut, so yeah, I would put this above Mallrats. I don't know. I didn't get a lot of joy from watching this movie. There's really not much else to it.
Yeah, unfortunately, if I think you had a great point there. From like the point where he opens up the door to the donkey show, like that's the movie I wish this was, which is silly, pretty lighthearted. There's some disgusting stuff in there, but it's done tongue in cheek to the point where you're just watching these characters in this ridiculous situation, kind of, and it's fun. And the last like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes of this movie are fun and heartfelt. It's just unfortunate that the first hour is just wrought with sort of awkwardness and bad moments that just don't. That the humor didn't age very well at all with all the Randall stuff. And Dante
What's
is
interesting
just,
there
not a likable character.
Is I think that from the smoke moment on to the end, it's like all of that works, and it does. It's all the good things of like funny dialogue and like character moments and heart. I feel like they could go back and like remake the first hour and whatever 10 minutes of this movie and make some plot that gets there in a much better way.
Yeah, I think for me too, the bigger issue is just if they were going to do something like that, it would have needed to be like Dante needed to be in this situation for forces that were outside of his control, right? And it's the fact that he just continues to be a shiftless loaf that makes this character just not fun to be around. And I hold by the fact that it was fun watching them be like lost 20-something-year-olds. But now I'm just like, man, you really are just making no choices or bad choices with your life, which after 2 movies, I just don't want to see anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'll admit that I don't know. To me, it's hard because Mallrats, I think, is just a slightly more entertaining film than this. But I don't really want to watch either of them again. I don't know. Okay. I'll probably put it above Mallrats.
I think I'd put it above Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Cool.
I mean, yeah, I think that this movie has a lot of moments I enjoy, and like I don't know. I watch this and these people are losers, and it's more of like watching them like a day in their life, and it's confirmation that they didn't improve their life at all because they would have to do that themselves, and that's not what the people they are.
Yeah.
And I really like the last 30 minutes of this movie, and there's a lot of moments that I enjoy throughout the movie. I wish Mallrats was higher. It's hard to put it in front of Mallrats, like above Mallrats, because in my mind, Mallrats should be a bit higher. But yeah, that's where I put it.
Who thinks it's better than Mallrats? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
All of us except Greg, raise our hands. Who thinks it's better than Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back? Raise your hand. Only Kevin raises his hand. The new rankings are number 1, Dogma. Number 2, Chasing Amy. Number 3, Clerks. Number 4, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Number 5, Clerks 2. And number 6, Mallrats. This Friday, we're going to return with Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Part 2. And then next Tuesday, we're closing out the Kevin Smith View Askewniverse with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Friday or Thursday? Thursday.
Great question, Andy.
Thursday.
Wow.
Well, no, it goes live Friday.
We're still pushing it live. We're recording on Thursday.
That doesn't matter
Got
to
it.
them.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. For Lord of the Rings, it's going live on Friday. And,
Got it. Okay.
Then we're closing out this on Tuesday. There you go. Until then.
They didn't say any snoogans or anything like that, right?
Kevin, do the dance.
Boom, boom, boom.
No.